So let's bring in Matthew Barnaby here for live analysis of this morning's news. Barney, look, Claude Julien fired this morning. I saw you live tweeting the game last night. You were watching it. Were you surprised when we heard the news?
I guess on first look, yeah. When you wake up to that, you don't really expect that for a team that's in a playoff position. But when you look at the power play, you look how lethargic they looked against the Ottawa Senators that you expect to beat up on a nightly basis. You've lost to them twice in a row, and you've got outplayed by them twice in a row. I think it comes down to timing, and they play the Winnipeg Jets for the next 5 games and one against Ottawa. So, this team, I think in the minds of Marc Bergevin and ownership, with all the changes and the start at 7-1-2 in the first 10 is not playing up to par. And I have to agree with them. So I am a little surprised, but when you peel back that onion, it just wasn't good enough for Claude Julien and that team.
I guess I could have sniffed that you saw it coming because what alerted me, I was watching the Chicago-Columbus game, and your tweet was, this game shouldn't be this close. So yeah. I flipped over to the game. I'm like, well, Barney's talking about it. And it was a great game, man. It was hell on wheels. It was a Stage 5 gong show. So Montreal wasn't playing well.
No, and Montreal should have won. I think it was a blown call by the NHL, not only because I had money on it, but I thought the Gallagher goal at the end with 2 seconds left should have been a goal. But it's neither here nor there. You don't lose your job because of one goal. It probably delays the inevitable. They were dominated. I mean, for the first period and a half, Ottawa's young legs, the Kachucks, the Norrises, Batherson, they were flying. Ottawa looked like they did not want to play. And when it comes down to it, that's how you judge your team. If you're a general manager, if you're a coach, you can take it. If you're out shooting the Ottawa Senators 30-10, you're down 3-0. Hey, my team is buying in. They're playing the right way. When you're getting manhandled by a bunch of young kids, that's where the problem lies. And then you take it a point further. I don't care if I'm coaching. Hey, me and you can go behind that bench. We can have the best game plan. If Carey Price doesn't stop the puck, if he doesn't stop pucks like he hasn't this year, you're not going to win. And the next coach is going to lose his job as well.
Well, there you go. And that's the great segue. By the way, manhandled by kids that are the 31st team in the NHL, whom you've lost 3 times to. So that probably had a little to do with the decision. But our poll question today is who will be the next coach of the Montreal Canadiens? Our options were Dominic Ducharme, who's right now the interim coach, Gerard Gallant, Mike Babcock, or other. Many people are voting for Patrick Roy under other. Where do you think they go from here?
Wow. Under the gun here. That's a tough one. Well, I was just asked this question on our outlet with Bet99 TV. And, will Ducharme be the coach the rest of the year? The answer is unequivocally yes. If they play well and they make a run, Ducharme's your guy. I mean, he's a well-respected coach. Listen, it's a little tougher in Montreal. A guy like Patrick Roy would make sense. I think there's a lot of still healing within that organization to do with Patrick Roy to make that come to fruition. But, they deal with a different dynamic, and it's kind of a double standard. To be a coach in Montreal, you got to speak 2 languages. So you better speak 2 languages or you have no chance in being a coach there. So that's, first of all, the wrong way to handle it. Take the best coach that's out there available. But I'm going to stick with Ducharme. I guess it's easy. I haven't thought that much about it. I would love to see Patrick Roy, and I think Habs fans would be their number 1 choice going forward if they failed a little bit.
Well, of course, and I'm with you, but let's just tell our viewers that he is still running your alma mater, your former club, the Rempart, is he not? Like, is he ready to do this?
Well, I think he would jump at the chance to do it for the Montreal Canadiens. It didn't work out in Colorado. There's a little bit of butting heads, and you have to be able to, Marc Bergevin would have to be able to, deal with Patrick Roy. He is definitely a different bird, and it runs through him, and he's going to want to have his imprint on the way that the team is built. So Marc Bergevin is going to have to take that into account when hiring a guy like Patrick Roy. You're not going to deal with that with Dominic Ducharme, who would just be, ecstatic to be coach of the Montreal Canadiens. They might look at Joel Bouchard. I know he's well respected. He's a former teammate of mine in junior, played with me for a short time after he was called up from the minors with the New York Rangers organization, but very well respected. So another guy to look for is Andre Tourigny, a guy that coached Team Canada, that coaches the Ottawa 67's, done a great job here developing a lot of kids and putting together a winning resume here. So he's a guy that fits all the bills as well if it doesn't go well for Montreal the rest of the year. And he speaks French, speaks English, so he can do it all for the Montreal Canadiens.
A plum job that a lot of guys would want, yeah. So they'll have their pick of the litter for who will coach the Canadiens next. Barney, I really appreciate the live analysis here. I just want to move on to the Babcock stuff for a second, if you don't mind. Wow.
Yeah.
So you saw we had him on yesterday. I think the quotes have been, I think the quotes have been twisted, frankly, myself, to fit a narrative here. But these are hockey guys that don't like him, right? It's not left-wing media or whatever. It's Commodore. It's Jeff O'Neill. It's Johan Franzen. It's a lot of guys. Where are you on Mike Babcock?
Well, I never played for Mike, so I don't have him that way. I can tell you there are stories that aren't flattering towards Mike. I've met Mike several times, and I can only say, and I do this all the time with people that I haven't played for, even people that, I hear things in just my everyday thing. People maybe at my golf course, oh, he's an ass. He's a jerk. And I'm like, well, he treats me really well. Mike Babcock has always treated me with respect and treated me really well. So that's the only thing I can judge Mike on. Having said that, I talked to Mike Commodore yesterday via text because I've been planning to go out to Arizona to play golf with him. He's a good friend of mine, love him. And that's his point of view. Listen, I hate Kevin Constantine. I think he's the worst human that's ever walked the face of the earth. He's the worst coach because he didn't like me as a player. Now, there's going to be other people that like him as a person. And maybe that's just the way he is at the rink. John Tortorella isn't a fun guy to play for or be at the rink. But I'll tell you, away from the rink, he's a great guy. So my thing on Mike Babcock, he's always treated me with respect, always been very cordial, always been very nice, treated my kid well when we were in Detroit watching a game and a Michigan game. So from my point of view, all I can do is he's been great to me. Everyone else has their own opinion, and just, go with what you know. I mean, you can't judge someone unless you know them personally.
No, I agree. And speaking of, I don't know Mike Commodore personally. You obviously do. You're close friends. And here's a funny story for everybody. Matthew Barnaby, Andre Waugh, and I walk into a hall in Carlisle, Saskatchewan to speak at a banquet. Remember, the organizer came up to us and you said to the guy, how much can we get away with here? And the guy's like, what do you mean? Well, with stories, swearing, He said, Mike Commodore spoke here last year, and there is no way you will offend people more than he did. And that didn't seem to surprise you at all.
Not at all. I mean, he's a great guy, a great guy. He's a close friend, and I respect. Listen, Mike Modano doesn't like Mike Babcock, but there are people that probably love Mike Babcock and have went to bat for Mike Babcock, Brendan Shanahan being one of them, bringing him to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Having said that, yes, I wanted to make sure, and I always try to learn my audience. I have a PG version of doing events, and I have a not so PG version. As long as there's no kids there, whatever way people want to take it, I'm willing to go.
Yeah, we let it rock. But I had people say to me after, I can't imagine the stories you guys talked about in the car because what you said on stage curled everybody's hair. But they loved it, Barney.
We couldn't talk. Andre Waugh talks the whole time. You and I just sit there and drank coffee for 2 hours there, 2 hours back. So yeah, it's tough getting in a word with Andre Waugh.
What a great night. Okay, just lastly for Bet99, they're a big outfit, man. I saw their huge banner on the stands on the tarp there at CT Center last night. What do you got going on at Bet99?
Yeah, it's a great company for anyone. I'm not trying to convince people into gambling or betting. You either like it or you don't. But if you do like gambling, it's a great sports book to be able to go online. So bet99.com. It's I'm kind of ambassador, but not ambassador. I'm a bettor. I'm kind of the betting guru, and I break down games. I watch a lot of different sports, whether it's hockey, basketball, golf, and anyone that likes to bet, you can use my promo code Barnaby36, all lowercase letters, and they'll match your first deposit up to $600. So if you like to bet, it's fun. Again, responsible gambling, like anything else in this world, anything in that fine line certainly is fun, but you don't want to go over it.
Moderation. What's that? Barney, thank you for joining us on short notice, man. Keep it up.
Awesome work, man.
Great analysis out of Ottawa on the firing of Claude Julien today.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.